Welcome to Woman2Woman today, where we're having intimate conversations with inspiring women while learning something new that inspires us. I'm your host, Jen Maseda. If you've ever wondered about the process of becoming an entrepreneur or been curious about how to connect with investors, you've got to watch today's show. We are demystifying the entrepreneur process while learning the most successful components of a pitch to potential investors. With us today is Dr. Patti Fletcher, a seasoned business executive, award-winning marketing influencer, board member, angel investor, author, and presenter. That's a lot. She writes for Inc., Huffington Post, The Guardian, The Digitalist, and has contributed to and been featured in Time Magazine, Forbes, Fortune, Newsweek, Economy, The Muse, WGBH Greater Boston, and many more. Patti's true passion is working with entrepreneurs, though, because she believes they are driven by a greater purpose for innovation that makes the world a better place. So today, we're so fortunate. Patti will be talking with us about the role of women high-growth entrepreneurs in the future of our country. So thank you for being with us today, Patti, on Woman2Woman today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We appreciate it. So break down just the first thing for us. What is an entrepreneur? What essentially is the definition, some characteristics?
Sure, and there are two different types of entrepreneurs. I work with high growth entrepreneurs, but there are two different types. So there's the entrepreneur, the mom and pop shop, fitting a very specific need for a smaller audience of people or smaller market. They don't tend to need external investment beyond friends or family money or perhaps a bank loan.
Okay.
I work with high growth entrepreneurs that are solving a very big problem that a lot of people care about. It tends to be something where technology has a huge play simply because of scale, whether that's how I sell, buy, or create my product.
Okay. And where do you do this? Essentially, you go all over the world. I know that. And you're a keynote speaker all over the world, and you're consulting. But we're going to talk today with two entrepreneurs. Tell us where they come from.
Absolutely. So I'm an Astia angel. I'm an angel investor. I've been on the board of Astia, the nonprofit, for a number of years now. And so because of that role with Astia Angels, because of the work that I do, and Astia is a nonprofit focused in on increasing the investment in women high-growth entrepreneurs. Something really important before I talk about these women. Only 5% of external funding, venture capital funding, which is what's needed for those high-growth startups, only 5% goes to women. That means 95% doesn't go to women, right? So I'm very, very focused on this population, as are so many.
Right. So you're helping this population, but is it such a small percentage because there are not a lot of women that are trying to launch these high growth ventures? And actually explain angel investor as well, because I think that's an important term that we've heard a lot of, but it'd be great to hear from an expert.
But what is it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, the external investment is absolutely needed when you have, like I said, a scalable business, right? I need to build a big website, invest in a big product, all that. So you typically go the route of friends and family first, your own money, your friends and family, and then you need seed money, which depending on how much it is, typically less than $1 million, you'd go to an angel investor. They're called angels. After that, you would go to venture capitalists, who are people who manage other people's money.
Okay.
There are also family offices you can go to where high net worth individuals have people who are managing their money for them, and they tend to be a little bit more mission driven in their investments.
Okay, so I've heard of that. That's a bunch of people pooling, just to simplify it, bunch of people pooling their dollars together. They might make a decision, but essentially whoever's managing it is making that decision of where those dollars go.
So for VCs, yes, but it's private, but it's private money, right? Okay. So from different funds. For family offices, it's wealthy people, wealthy families. Sometimes it's one family, sometimes it's a few. With angel investors, these are individual investors. A few years ago, you could be an angel. The law was just passed where you could become an investor if you made at least $250,000 a year over a number of years. So per year over a number of years. So that opened up to a lot of people to be investors. A lot of women like myself who have money and I want to reinvest. Angel investors go in groups and they pool their money together and they can opt in or opt out of any investment. So because of this role, everybody follows the money as they should, right? So because of this role, organizations like Babson have contacted me and work with me as a local here in Boston. I tend to work everywhere else. Lots of stuff on the other coast in the Silicon Valley, like you said, lots of stuff in Europe and other places. But Babson has this wonderful program called WinLab. and it's about women innovators. It's been, I think it's in their 5th year. They have 63 startups that are still part of the ecosystem that's huge out of, I don't know, 72 or something like that, right? So a really good thing. That's where these programs, that's where these folks are coming from. This year, in addition to their Boston location, they also have a location down in Miami that's been funded by the Knight Foundation. So I think they have like 23 startups there. You have to try out like any other accelerator. Actually, I'm wearing one of the dresses of one of the businesses from down there. Bammies is a company started by these 2 amazing entrepreneurs who believe friends don't let friends go to work in yoga pants.
Nice.
So yeah.
So comfortable but stylish.
Exactly.
We love that.
That's right.
Well done.
That's
well
right.
done, Bammy. That's great.
That's well done, exactly. So we're going to be talking to 2 entrepreneurs from the Boston program.
Okay.
Who'll be talking to us and pitching to us. And I'm going to play the role of investor as well as coach, because one thing that we know about the entrepreneurial ecosystem is nobody gets to the finish line alone.
Right.
So there is a whole ecosystem, people who are business creators, people who put other people together, people who invest, lawyers, right? There's an entire ecosystem.
Sure.
And that's really what an entrepreneur needs to make inroads in.
Right. That's going to be really exciting because just as a lay person, not yet an angel investor, but definitely interested in being a part of that ecosystem in some way, like this, highlighting the activity, but then also highlighting women that are getting it done.
That's right.
And inspiring others.
Yeah.
So you said 95% to men, 5% essentially to women.
Yeah. And the reason for that, right? You had asked about that. So going back to, isn't it wonderful that we've been opened up to be angel investors? VCs, I think it's something like 4% of venture capitalists are women. We have this problem in venture capital. It's called meritocracy. So if you go to the Silicon Valley, they love to talk about being a meritocracy. Oh, we make dreams come true for everybody. It's not true, right? We look and see. I invest in someone who looks like me, thinks like me, acts like me, right?
And whoever I'm comfortable with.
Whoever I'm comfortable with, right? And tends to look like the person in the mirror.
Right.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
So when you only have 4% of investors who are women, number one, that's a problem. Number two, there's also still a stigma. Oh, you're one of those women.
Right.
We have to beat that down.
Right.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Babson, 5 years ago, had this great idea to invest in this essentially, put curriculum towards this, and really draw this attention.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some statistics that the fastest rate of entrepreneurs comes from females.
Yes.
They have these amazing ideas, as we're going to hear today.
Yeah.
And we hear about them all the time. One of the ways that we do that is, this is my first experience with asking questions and venture capitalists, is Shark Tank and Mr. Wonderful.
Yes.
I'd always go with Robert. But occasionally I believe Mr. Wonderful has a place.
Yeah.
But really, that is helping, I think, the public to understand that anyone can do this. And there's so many people with so many great ideas.
The one thing,
so how do you beat it down? You said we've got to change it. How do we do that?
So a few things. One, come together. Yeah. Right. So with these angel groups, it's wonderful. And the angel group I'm a part of is a mix of men and women, mostly from tech. We invest all across the board, life sciences, businesses, all the way to kind of fashion tech and everything in between.
Is it tech because that is essentially the product lines that are
Oh no, we invest in anything, but the investors are tech because that's where they made their money.
There you go.
Right, so that's where their background is.
Okay.
And so, but we invest beyond that, right? Okay. Again, high growth, big problem, big
scalable
solution. That's right, exactly. So there's that. But the thing about entrepreneurialism, there's this great guy, Vivek Wadhwa. He came from India to the Silicon Valley in the late 80s, I believe. Really brilliant entrepreneur, very well educated, very credentialed. Had these wonderful ideas, and he wasn't able to get any investors. And he thought, what the heck's going on, right? Well, I guess I'm not white and I wasn't born here. And so then and I'm simplifying his story completely, but he found out that he wasn't the only guy who came from India. So he went and met with all the other folks who came from India. They started creating this essentially tribe of people. They demoed to each other, they practiced with each other, they introduced each other to people they were meeting, investors, and then all of a sudden success came. That's how this changes. Right. This is a movement.
That's what women need to do.
Yes, absolutely.
Make those connections and support
you are not in
this
alone. Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, Patti, along with 2 rapid growth female entrepreneurs, will take us into the world of making pitches to investors, and we'll learn the critical components that will help us be successful. So keep watching.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Welcome back to Woman2Woman today. I'm your host, Jen Maceda. We're back with Dr. Patti Fletcher, leading expert in the entrepreneur process, and two rapid growth entrepreneurs, Emily Levy of Mighty Well and Michelle Brookins-Ekunshirende of Stina and Mae from Babson College WinLab Entrepreneur Program. Patti, take us through what you're going to show us, again, demystifying that entrepreneur process.
Absolutely. So we're going to see two pitches today.
Okay.
This becomes very much what you do as a high-growth startup. Your job as founder and CEO, as these two amazing ladies will tell you, is to constantly sell your business. That is truly your number one. So we're going to hear one example. It's on the funding side. Emily's going to pitch to me as if I'm an investor who does not really understand the quite complicated market that she's going to sell into.
Okay.
And then Michelle, right after her, is going to pitch to me as if I'm a distributor. So it gives us two, one from the supply chain side,
Perfect.
Exactly, and one from the funding side.
Sounds good.
Great.
So should we get started?
Yes, please.
Awesome. Go
My
for it.
name is Emily Levy, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mighty Well. Standing before you today is a strong and confident woman, but that's not how I felt 4 years ago when I found out that I had Lyme disease, and I would have to have a PICC line, otherwise known as a long-term IV, in my arm for 4 months. And I was told to wear a cut sock on my arm. And this allowed me to discover the larger problem of patients not feeling beautiful and having ease of function into their life. So that's why we started Mighty Well, a company that is dedicated to providing ease of access and dignity for patients. Our first product is a PICC line cover so that patients are able to do their treatment without anyone having to see their insertion site. And we are breaking into the $40 billion global medical fashion market. Now, 117 million Americans are faced with at least one or more chronic illnesses each year, but yet they have nothing to help them look and feel their best. This is a market that Mighty Well is going after, and we are inspiring all patients to live mighty well. Thank you.
Awesome. That was fantastic.
That was great. That was great.
That was fantastic. Have you done this before,
I know.
Emily?
Yes, I have. My friends call me the pitch
Yes,
queen.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, but how many times did you have to practice that?
Oh my God, you should have seen me a year and a half ago. You know, this is literally pitching everyone you meet. And I always tell people, try different things because, you know, what may work for Patti may not work for, you know, someone you meet at the local deli who asks, what is that thing on your arm?
Yes.
So it's just a matter of practicing again, and, you know, knowing it as more of a conversation than as a scripted language.
Absolutely. And the start of a conversation,
Yes.
right? So in this particular case, what would you want from me?
I am looking for an investment. That's right. I should have had an ask.
Yes, yeah.
Should have had an ask.
Yeah.
But in this case, I'm looking for an investment. Right now, we're raising our seed round, and as an angel investor, that is exactly what I should have done.
Right, exactly. So I saw Emily, maybe a little under a year ago?
Yeah.
Maybe about a year ago, and your pitch is amazing. So all of that practice has really happened. And a few
Thank
things
you.
about when you're going for investing, and we've talked about this, and
Yes.
I've talked to the other entrepreneurs, is absolutely get your pitch right, know who your audience is, and you do, and you can see that honed, but it all comes down to building relationships.
Yes.
And that's the point, right, of this conversation, is start to build a relationship and connection with me.
Exactly.
Your product is very complicated, right? It's very simple, but very complicated in that that's a very complicated world to sell into.
Right, and we're learning that.
And you're learning that, right? And so I, as an investor, know that. So one of the things I think would be really great to have as part of your pitch is, how have you broken into it? It's a huge market. I had no idea. What slice of the pie do you think you're going to get? And then how are you going to get there? You've built such an incredible ecosystem of nurses.
Yes.
You now have something happening, is it Children's? Or?
Boston Children's,
Yeah.
we're piloting a study to prove that our first product reduces infection rate and pulling up the line.
Right.
So we're thinking of having more of a stylish route that we sell online, direct to consumer, and
Yeah.
then a generic line, which we can go directly into the hospitals.
See, that's amazing. One thing to remember about investors, this is really, really critical, and I talk a lot to entrepreneurs about this. I am an investor. I'm actually not in the investment business.
Yep.
I'm in the making money business.
Right.
And I want you to be able to get me from the money I give you to the money I get from your exit. And there are two ways that you exit, right? Two ways I'm going to make money. Either you IPO or you get acquired. I don't make money off of any sales, right? That's just not how it works. So I need you to bring me there and include that in, right? So those things that you've established, the relationships with the nurses and that program with children's, huge. You're showing me that you're breaking down barriers.
How much does she ask for? I mean, how would she know? Is it because she knows you as an individual investor, or is
How
there
does she come to
some
the money?
kind of
yeah. And I will say, and we've talked a little, if it's okay,
Yeah,
you know.
sure, go ahead.
So we talked a little bit off camera about this. Women don't tend to ask for enough money.
Right.
Okay. So how we get to
in
that
a lot of different ways?
Sure, we do.
For our
Actually,
jobs,
yeah,
to
I mean,
our-
right, exactly.
Right, we undervalue ourselves.
That's right.
Okay.
The Diana Project from Babson and E&Y actually found that entrepreneurs pay themselves significantly less than male entrepreneurs do. So we do it to ourselves. But aside from that, so what's critically important about the money is if I give her money, I want to know what she's going to spend it on, right? And then how is that going to get her to this?
To the end goal.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly right. So also, which brings me to that, I'm not sure I quite understand. I know the market you want to get into. What I'm trying to go is, and what are you going to do when you get there, right?
Okay.
So it's 5 years from now. Are you this percentage of the market? Do you have a line of things? That kind of stuff. And so that's really tells me, okay, so she's going to ask for this amount of money because she knows that here are the 3 rungs of the ladder that she needs to climb. So how she's going to use that money? Is it going to be in R&D? Is it going to be with suppliers? Like where in the supply chain is that going to be used?
Okay.
I hear a lot for marketing, like websites, and also for the amount of product that you have. So you can actually deliver on some of the promises that you've made.
And marketing really depends on the business. So you're as much building a brand as you are anything, and we'll hear that from Michelle as well, right? So that does mean, if it's indifferent, that does mean I invest in a marketing component, right? Probably too early for a head of marketing, but certainly to work with an agency or a third party of some kind, build your brand, and go to the trade shows and do all the stuff you need to do, right? Get some of the nurses to speak for you, be your advocate.
And that's what we're starting to do, but we really do need that investment to be able to, the brand is also myself as a patient, selling me and why people should follow us along.
And does that make it more authentic when you're telling a story essentially of yourself where you can feel it, you can really show the passion of it, and you're solving a problem that you've realized, which makes it so much clearer.
The other thing, which is really crazy, is although I have a purse and a bank account, I'm also human, right? And so I want to connect on that, and I do think that's important, but it's also important that you told me the business story. Because there are plenty of investors who are not going to relate to this, right? I don't know anyone else besides you walking around with this port. So super important.
That's great.
Yep, super important. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. Well done. I'm sorry, Emily. Well done.
And just want to say one more thing, sorry. Emily did win a really exciting award at Babson. She got the $250,000 Babson Breakaway Challenge. She pitched and she won it, and we are thrilled for her.
Thank you. That is so awesome.
Well on your way.
What's the percentage of females that typically, go into entrepreneurism, and what made this something that you knew you could do, essentially?
Growing up, my family always had businesses, but I didn't know they were entrepreneurs. And then when I got a scholarship for women's entrepreneurial leadership through Babson, I started to learn, okay, what my family's been doing is entrepreneurship. And I always knew that I wanted to work for myself, and it wasn't until I had this problem myself that I realized, okay, this is it, and I need to tackle this.
Yeah, because no one else is solving it, and that is the number one thing, and we'll hear that from you too, where there's a big gap in the market. I'm not the only one. Nobody else is filling it. One more thing, just before I forget. I really wish you had mentioned your relationship with the manufacturer and who they are. That's very important. Again, it's one less thing I'm going to have to invest in as an investor, and it's super important.
That's great.
Okay.
Thanks, Emily. Hello.
Hello. So here we have Michelle. And Michelle, I'm going to ask you to pitch to me as if I were a potential distributor.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, good evening. I am Michelle Ikunsharinde, and I'm here to talk to you about Stina and Mae. Picture this. 11 months ago, something amazing happened. I became a mom. And I also became a bag lady. These two hands had to carry my son, my purse, my coffee, and the all-important diaper bag. And guess what? I always thought that my diaper bag was one pop thread away from being total disaster. So it was at that moment that Stina and Mae was born. Stina and Mae is a motherhood accessories company geared towards giving moms a stylish, affordable, and functional way to carry everything that motherhood asks of you. Our bags are made right here in the United States, so quality is our #1 concern. Also, our bags are made with vegan leather that have antimicrobial technology, so no mold, mildew, or any gross things will grow on the outside of your bag. We also have purse feet on the bottom of the bag, and every mom knows they do not want their diaper bag to touch that gross public changing table, so we try to keep mothers in mind. And being a mom, I understand what they need. I currently live that life 24/7. And so our bag, when you need a hands-free moment, is convertible. It goes from a tote bag to a messenger bag to a backpack. And the great thing about our bag is that we are priced in between Fisher Price and Kate Spade. So we're able to give our moms the quality, the style, and the functionality that they need at a great price. And so currently this bag here would retail for $219. We would wholesale it for $100. And then our backpack as well would do the same. And the backpack is right behind you. And
That's beautiful.
That's lovely.
there we go. Thank you. And this is our backpack, and this would retail for around the same price as this one. And we have a diaper clutch as well. And this is for the quick and easy move on the go, for the mom on the go. When you just want to literally pack a few wipes, a few diapers, and go.
Can I see that?
You sure can.
This
And
is
it-
my new evening
I
bag.
know, I was gonna say.
Yes, it goes from diaper bag to date night very
Love it.
easily.
Yeah, it really does.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I know you want to get into it, but as I was saying before we turned on the camera, I was using a diaper bag for at least 10 years after I had my child. So, I mean, this is a very minimal investment. Here, I'm selling your product for you. A minimal investment for a long time return. I would love to.
That's awesome. I see a roadshow. So I just have to say, before I go into my comments and questions, I told you about this 2 days ago, right? And so, and your response was, what? So with that, you've done an exceptional job in 2 days.
Excellent.
But I'm a distributor, and I don't care about the majority of what you just told me. Okay? So when it comes to a product like this, which is a consumer-based product, there are 3 ways that you're going to go to market, right? 3 different ways, and you'll probably have a mix of all 3. So the first is direct to consumer, which you do through road shows that you can do when you guys, take your
Website.
trunk show on the road.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay.
The website, that kind of thing.
We take her.
Exactly. And then there is going through stores. So you creating relationships, which I know is, people starting to connect with you, where she's going to individual stores and creating those relationships. The third is distributors.
Right.
So these are folks that have relationships with the big boxes as well as mom and pop shops, right? You have to kind of figure out what it is that you want.
Like Babies R Us.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Large stores.
Baby.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Or some kind of a chain of stores,
Got it.
right? But and they're very, very incredible. And so typically you want, as an investor, I'm going to want a mix of those, right? If you
Okay.
go for investment. But as the CEO of a company like this, you're going to want to have that mix. So with the distributor, what they're looking for is a few different things, right? So what I was waiting for you to tell me is what's going to be my profit. Right? What's the cost to me
To make.
of stocking
Right.
and fulfilling? And then, is this scalable? In other words, is this it? Or are you going to branch out into other stuff?
Is
right?
this your only product, or are you thinking about
Exactly.
I
Do you
should
have a
have emphasized.
line?
Doing
Right.
umbrellas
Exactly.
or-
I should have emphasized so the wholesale price would be $100, and then the retail price would be $219.
Okay.
So your
So you did mention
markup
that.
would be a
Right.
little
I didn't-
over 60%.
I get you.
So, but was that for me as a distributor or me
Right.
as a store?
That's what I was thinking
Okay.
too.
I see
Yeah,
what you're saying.
because I read it as a store.
Yes,
Right.
as a store.
As a
And
store.
I read it as a customer that you were going to wholesale to me for $100. So you better watch out, because I'm
amazing.
expecting that bag for $100.
Right,
We got a
right,
couple of
exactly.
minutes left.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what are the keys, and how do you find a distributor? We talked about that.
Yeah,
That's
so
really
just one more
critical.
thing. I think you did a really good job of telling me the uniqueness of your product, but not in a way that helped me differentiate from your competitors, right? Because when you're going to a distributor, there's a few things that we have to remember. If I'm your distributor, I'm not your customer.
Right.
Right? So don't pitch to me as if I'm your customer, and don't pitch to me as if I'm your investor. Also, how you pitched to me was as if you're on Shark Tank. You're not on Shark Tank when you're with a distributor, right?
Yeah.
So just get real. All I care about is the money, 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 money.
That's true.
So how are you going to find them? That's probably the number one question I get after, what the heck do I do, right? Is this a viable thing? And so the industry associations and trade shows are really where you want to go. This is where the things around relationships are so critical. The National Association of Wholesalers and Distributors is the place you want to be. You're going to go to their shows, you're going to join up, you're going to be part of it. And what you're going to do is look and see what your competitors are doing. Who are they working with? What can you find out about them? Where's their stuff being plugged? Who has the best relationships? The only reason you're going to go to a distributor is who they know, where they can represent you. Really important. I do think you should be looking at, like it was a Home Shopping Network and those folks as well. So try to get a distributor that has those kind of relationships as well. This is not a short game. It's a long game. Everybody wants to work with a distributor for obvious reasons.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to get your product out there
And it's not
faster
too early to
more
start.
Quantity.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for the
Great job.
amazing feedback.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
All right. Well, big thanks to Dr. Patti
Absolutely.
Fletcher and to Emily and Michelle. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your amazing story and sharing your journey with us too. Big thanks to Patti Fletcher for demystifying the path to becoming a successful entrepreneur, and to Emily Levy of Mighty Well and Michelle Brookings Ekun Sarande of Stina and Mae for sharing your brilliant ideas with us. We wish you much success. Please remember to follow, like, and subscribe to Woman2Woman Today on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube so you don't miss a show. Thanks to the entire team at Access Framingham, especially Shavarsh Morrissey and Francesca Cerruti Harris. Thanks also to Jess Briswell, our assistant producer. I'm Jen Maceda, your host of Woman2Woman Today. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time, where we hope to inspire you.